Lagos State government on Wednesday declared its intention to demolish buildings without proper approval after a 90-day amnesty period. The announcement comes in the wake of the identification of 359 distressed buildings marked for demolition. According to the Lagos State Building Control Agency, the state government has notified owners about the demolition and has published the notices in 3 national dailies. The move, they say, is to address safety concerns and uphold building regulations. The decision has sparked a debate among residents, with some questioning the fairness of the demolitions and others applauding the government's efforts to ensure safety. In the meantime, following the demolition of structures in Mende, the 2023 Labour Party governorship candidate in Lagos State, Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour, has taken to social media to condemn the Lagos State government, alleging that after his assessment of the site, the buildings demolished were not on the right-of-way or in contravention, as reported by the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources. Rhodes-Vivour, who is a master's degree holder in architecture from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, in the United States, went on to post drainage plans, which he says revealed several other buildings, including government offices and agencies, directly blocking the Bishop Aboyade Coal Canal. He also claimed that residents of Mende were not given notices before their buildings were demolished.
What we understand is that this space has been in existence for almost 20 years. All the documents, legal consents was gotten from the government, and they actually are not built on the canal. Their fence is not on the canal. Individually, they were given the bills for land use charge and all of that, but they were never notified about any of these things. They've probably been living here for over 15 years. If people have lived here for 15 years, Governor Fashola has seen this building, there was no problem. Governor Ambode has seen this building, there was no problem. They've gone to court, they've gotten rulings on this. How come, for a government that claims continuity, why is it that for 15 years, a government has approved of this, and then all of a sudden another government comes and wants to destroy these things and not even give people enough notice to be able to get their things, and there is no consequence to the government for this kind of aberration? There have been no conversations about compensation. These people all have their legal titles, their global COO that has a governor's consent. So on what basis will this kind of violence be done against citizens?
Well, the Commissioner of Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, in a 16-point response to the allegations, said that the Lagos State government held a series of meetings and engagements with developers and landlords in the Mende area, detailing the encroachment, with admission of contravention by the stakeholders. He further stated that the engagements ran into months and years, with owners of contravening structures pleading with the government to reduce the width of the right-of-way, adding that in 2021, the Lagos State government served property owners the first notice of removal, and a subsequent notice was served in November 2023. Joining us now is Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour, former governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Lagos State, and from London is Tokunbo Wahab, the Lagos State Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources. Good morning to you both, and welcome to the Morning Show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Ayo.
Good
morning, Doctor. And good morning, Rufai.
Thank you. Well, let's start with Rhodes-Vivour, who is with us here in the studio. You visited the place. You've seen what you said and all that, and your point about empathy and all of that. Now, did you visit for political reasons? Are you speaking as a politician? How do you defend some of the claims that you made? Because some people will just say, oh, he's just playing politics.
Okay, so there's a bigger problem in Lagos State. And fortunately, with this Mende estate, you see a group of people that were dedicated in communicating with the government, dedicated in getting all their paperwork right with the government over a significant period of time. Now, another interesting part or layer of this is this conversation about the canal and water flow. Now, Canal 1, this system 1, it starts from around Ojodu, right? The longer part of it. The shorter part starts from around Customs area. That's around Toyin Street. And then it meets at Maryland. Coming all the way and then dumps in Ifako, Bagada side, joins the Lagos Lagoon. Okay. Now, in May 2021, 354 million was given for the construction and channeling of this waterway, right? Then in June, I believe, 2022, another 318 million was given for the work of this same waterway. We have not seen any channeling of this, right? On this same canal path, shit is being dumped, right? On this same canal path, just meters from this estate, right? And another part around the Alade market. Also, coincidentally, around the Ojota side, there was supposed to be a system of sewage treatment, 60% of which has been budgeted for, has been given. There were 2 false starts. Since then, the project has been abandoned. Now, I say all this to say that for a government that seems to have so much difficulty in implementing constructive means for our canalways to work properly, for our sewage systems to work properly, the zeal with which they destroy when they cannot create, despite budgets being made for it, right, shows a lack of empathy. And also, we have seen where the government says that the survey drawing, there was a contravention at the right edge of it, right? But when you go there, you see the entire row has been destroyed. And when you look at a process, an estate that has been in existence for over 15 years, you ask yourself, okay, how did this building get built? Because in construction industry, there's no building being built that members from the government are not coming there to inspect, not coming there to shut up your site. So how did it get to this extent for this long? And if it has gotten to this extent, are there no other humane solutions considering the situation in this country right now and the ineptitude of the government in highlighting the channelization of the canals, the dumping of waste in this same canal system, right? If Lagosians have been so patient with this government, with all their excesses in terms of their budgeting, can the government not also look for other solutions? I've been there. It's not like, for instance, the situation I highlighted where on the channel on Aboediko is right on the canal. This is on the edge of the canal. If the canal has been channeled, it would not have expanded this far as it has done. When you look at the original survey drawing and what it is today, and even if you want to destroy a place, the parts where there's a contravention on that side survey could have been focused on and destroyed clinically. Not a situation where the entire row is damaged. Even the opposite one, the building, because of the extent of the force, the buildings have also started to tilt. So that is my point. I feel that it's extremely important for the government to remember that they are our servants. They are not our overlords. And the means by which they govern and enact these well-being for all of us must show that they cannot come the level of arrogance with which they make people homeless. For people that are budgeting 354 million, 318 million, and we have not seen the impact of it. Right? The first one was given to Gene Ventures on May 2021 for 354 million. In June 2022, 318 million was given to First Billings International for this same pathway.
Okay, very quickly, we need to bring Commissioner Wahab into the conversation, but you've not addressed the question about whether you are doing this for political gain.
For me, I've always, even before I got into politics, when I was campaigning against genetic modified foods, I'm always looking for the interests of human beings. I'm a human first. You can call me a humanist. And when you see people on videos crying because they don't know where they are going to start, somebody has to speak up. I cannot speak up for everything. But if I can see a situation where you are not directly on the canal, I've seen buildings that are directly on the canal. I did not say anything, right? But this building is not.
Okay, quickly. Commissioner Wahab. Yesterday we discussed, the 16 points about how the Lagos State government has tried to engage and the governor had personally tried to be fair to the parties concerned. But you must have listened to gubernatorial candidate of the Labour Party, saying that, look, there are alternative ways that the Lagos State government could have gone about this, particularly in the Mende area, and that there has been money budgeted for channelization, and the money, the money's just disappeared into thin air. If you could just respond to some of his allegations.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Abati, and good morning, Dr. Abati, Ayo and Rufai. You see, politicians think of the next election. Statesmen think of the next generation. And I'm going to address all the issues raised without being biased. Systems 1 is the most critical system in the state. And that was why in 1974, the former military administrator, General Mobolaji Johnson, did gazette it because of the critical nature of the Systems 1. Now, over time, people had encroached. In 2020 to 2021, it got to the head because there was a major flooding in 21 and then a major flooding in 2022. So my predecessor in office started engaging them from 2021. And he said to them, you have to move. And I'm glad Mr. Rhodes-Vivour did mention that the contract was awarded. As we speak, they don't even allow the contractor to go to site because of these emotions they are throwing into the mix. But without pivoting, let us face the issue. Was there a System 1 right of way? It's a yes. What was the width of it? It's 140. The Mende Villa is part of a stretch that runs from Jobe, Sholui, then Mende. The man that built Mende Villa, Dikin Dorojaye, came with applications. There was an application that he sent in in 2011, and he got a reply from the Surveyor General. And I'll quote the Surveyor General's word. He's trying to reclaim, for reclamation, an annexation of the unused parts of Odoyalaro construction. 18th of March 2011. Now, that presupposes that there was a construction that will be carried out on that Odoyalaro channel. And then the leftover land will be used for its own purpose. Have we done that construction? No. It's ongoing by Julius Berger. Starting from Okpebi, it will run through Ojota and then Odoyalaro. So now we've had engagements with the homeowners. There have been served notices since the time of my predecessor in office, Honorable Mr. Tunji Bello. Engagement had gone on. However, because of my own legal background, I insisted that they all must be served again. And they were served. They came to the office. They were led into the office of the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources by the Honorable Member, Representative Koshofe, Honorable Kolawon. And we played them the video of Systems 1 to see their level of encroachment. That was last year, November. Afterwards, we told them, we have mobilized the contractor. Let him do the work. Now, within November and now, Dr. Abati, Dubai had flooded. Kenya is going through a major flooding. Brazil is flooding. Picture and imagine a situation where Systems 1 will be overtaken by flood because people are saying we should not do our work. Truth be told, governance is not a tea party. You have to make very tough, decisive decisions. It's not a walk in the park. At times, you have to make decisions that will impact people. But the preponderance is it for the overriding public interest? And that is what this is all about. What we have done on Systems 1, and I will be glad if your journalists can play the video, start from Arewo Jobe. Don't speak on Mende Villa alone. Start from Arewo Jobe. Go to Sholui. The governor also had taken steps to we got his approval and that of the Executive Council to reduce the width from 140 to 100. And we now have to balance it out that, okay, 60 will be on the Mende side, Arewo Jobe side, Sholui side, and 40 will be on the Ogudu side. And by so doing, we have saved over 85 properties in that same estate and that same stretch. Let us pause and leave politics. Mr. Rhodes-Vivour should pause and leave politics. Imagine if Lagos gets flooded. We'll be talking about millions of lives. Dr. Abati, it will interest you to know, the first survey that we came with will have taken 85% of that estate. And that was why we had to go back to the governor. The chairman of the Resident Association, Mr. Shueton, came to the office to have meetings with my PAMSEC and the civil service structure. And things were addressed, and we said to them, Systems 1 is too critical. The rains are coming. Global warming is real. Climate change is real. We can't allow emotions disrupt the whole ecosystem. And the only thing we did, with due respect, after serving notices, were to remove the properties sitting right on Odoyalaro Systems 1 channel. That's for that. Mr. Rhodes-Vivour also pivoted to the issue of Aboyade coal. For those that are old enough, in 2011, this was a major campaign issue between the then Governor Fashola and the governorship candidates for one of the parties. Enforcements were carried out in 2013, major enforcements. And then we did concrete lining for, we call it Itiri Channel. We did that in VI. As we speak, it will interest you to also note, we have observed some contraventions for the past few months on that same Itiri Channel, and we have served notices on them. As we speak, we are engaging them. But people don't see the back end for the service, for the engagements. They always have a narrative around the enforcement. And it goes to what we have always said. No matter the superstructure you build, no matter the beauty of it, if there are no laws and regulations, it becomes an Obesian state where life becomes brutish and short and nasty. What we have done deliberately in the past few months is to remove contraventions as allowed by law on the part of the stormwater, rainwater.
All right.
And it's overriding public interest.
Okay, I hear you loud and clear, Honorable Commissioner. I hear you. Especially for Lagosians who have experienced floods and properties and in some cases lives that have been lost. So I can understand the importance of doing things rightly. But the conversation still points to, and this is from a people-centered approach to doing things right, even to implementing policy or implementing an action. And what some people I'm speaking to right now, just one of the people affected by this demolition, her building was also demolished. And what they're saying is that the manner in which it was done, the notices didn't get to them on time. Number two, there's a video of her hold on a second, sir. Video of her interacting with you where you were assuring them that you were going to go back to the governor to make a case for them because it was going to be immediate for them and they were going to lose a lot. However, in almost the same breath, the demolition was ordered and they had to watch their building come down and they were in tears. I mean, like you mentioned, people crying and all that. We understand the need to regularize things. We understand that. Anyone who is in contravention of pre-approved rights to build ought to face the penalties. But there are lives involved. And I recall, Dr. Batu talks about legacy, demolition man, as it's been, you're referred to demolition man, the governor is called demolition man, and not looking at the plight of people, especially in light of the current realities, economic realities of people. Could this have been handled better? I understand your passion about doing things right, but it's also doing things right by the people that the governor governs. That's the question I'd like to ask you. In addition to the amount of money... Okay,
thank you very much.
Yes, I'd maybe answer that first of all, then I'll come to...
Ayo, can I?
Yes, please,
okay,
go ahead.
Let me answer the questions.
Yes, please.
You see, Ayo, you asked a very direct question, and I'll answer you in a very direct way. We were at Mende Villa twice in 2 weeks. The first time we went there was a Sunday, and we had a conversation with the residents. And that was when I said to them, I don't have the authority to reduce the width of Odoyalaro. I have to go back to the governor and I have to go back to EXCO, which I did. We got the approval to reduce it from 140 to 100. Not just that. The governor said, look, let you even reduce the width from coming on the side of Mende and Arojobe so you can spread it out. And we did that, which meant 60 came to Mende, Arojobe, Sholui, Maryland, and side of Odoyalaro. Instructively, we also came to engage them. And I understand. I was there with them. I spoke to those women. And I said, the rains are coming. We should let this government do what it has been voted in to do. That is secure other people. It's overriding public interest, Ayo. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough because we have to do things that people will at times see as being wicked. You think it will suit anybody to see a building being pulled down?
All right,
no.
okay. All right.
But there were served notices, Ayo.
Yes.
They had meetings back to back with us, Ayo.
All right. Okay, so I hear you. There are still
the
contentions around the meetings.
I'm coming, Ayo. Ayo, please.
All right.
Don't burn to my chain, please. You see, the people that developed, the homeowners, the developers, they were engaging the government, but they failed to tell the tenants. That was what we found out. But we didn't wait in our offices. We came out. I came out with them. And if your camera person is there or your staffs, they can come and brief you on what happened outside the Mende Villa. There was Sholui, there was Arojobe. And we saved over 80 houses on that axis too. Because we said we can't put this pain on people. However, overriding public interest is that this bridge being done by Julius Berger would disturb this whole place if it's not taken care of now. And then flooding will come. We've seen global warming is real.
Okay.
We've seen climate change is real.
Right.
Okay.
Kenya have lost 250 people in the past 10 weeks. Or thereabout.
I'd like to bring in Mr. Rhodes-Vivour at this point. Thank you. I think you've established your point very well. Mr. Rhodes-Vivour, I still want to ask you the same question, but around, even compensation. And again, could this have been handled better?
Yeah. So he quoted a letter from on the 18th of March 2011, and I'll just read a part of it. It's to Directorate of Land Services, Lands Bureau Secretariat, is signed by Surveyor General of Lagos State. It says, having critically examined the whole file, it was found that the applicant had executed all perfection to his possession and titling of the property involved. He had applied to Ministry of Environment, Directorate of Drainage Services, and obtained drainage clearance certificate dated 28 December 2007. Deed of assignments registered, put the number there, January 2007 were executed. Development permit number DCB 1655 KS Christopher Dio with registration number has been granted approval under provisions of Lagos State Urban and Regional Planning and Development Law of 2005, and property is now fully developed. Now, there are people in Lagos State that might, find ulterior ways to get their building built. But these people have their documentation. They have documentation that goes back to the very beginning of this development. Now, for me, I feel that the government must always be creative with people that have shown good faith in interacting and engaging with the government, right? And conversations about compensation, conversations about rehousing, conversations about the betterment for the people of Lagos after designers, urban planners have looked at a situation, because now you have to look at this. This is something that is there. How can we design with this in mind, considering that they've gone through all these pains to regularize their plans and their approvals and all of that? For me, the way and manner with which this demolition was carried out showed a lot of inhumanity, in my opinion. I feel that the way the commissioner is talking now,
you don't disagree with the fact that these buildings ought to be demolished at some point. It is the manner in which it was done.
No.
Okay.
Based on their survey drawing, and the governor, with all these letters, they say that there is a part where there was contravention in that survey. I don't want to go into the details of it, because then this whole thing will get messy or get grey. Let's focus on the part that there was a contravention. If they wanted to destroy that part based on getting their approval from this same government. They could have focused solely on that, but they didn't.
Oh, I think the Honourable Commissioner was trying to say something. He was trying to respond to something you had
Okay,
said.
can I say something, Ayo? Can I say something, please?
Yeah,
let me say something, please. And Mr. Vivour should not be clever by half. He should have read the whole gamut of that letter. Where the letter, the man was saying he wants to reclaim, he wants to annex the leftover parts of the Yalero Systems 1's right of way. That's by the way. Let's talk about compensation. Dr. Abati is a lawyer. I have a legal background. Compensation is based on rights. As a state, I know how much we are giving out to the people of Ilason Jakonde. I won't mention figures, but over 2,000 persons have been given compensation. Squatters are not allottees, have been given huge sum of money to find a place to relocate to. That is a government that has shown empathy. Now, we are coming to Mende again. Let me not pivot. Let's come back to Mende. The developer said he was not served notice. However, he was engaging the state for the past 6 months. He also chose to say to us that, okay, can you help us divert this? And I said, no. The wheel of justice may be slow, but it grinds to a halt. The era of people being brazen without consequences is one of the bane of our underdevelopment. You can be a very good architect, but when it comes to urban planning, when it comes to environmental issues, it's a different gamut of discussion entirely. We can talk about compensation, but you have to ground compensation on something. We won't just take taxpayers' money to say we want to just give it out. The people at the last one, we are giving because we had worked out a process. And we said, these quarters have been here, they want to relocate, take. But for Mende, you have to ground, you can't put illegality on something. I want you to stand. Your illegality cannot change to legality because you've been there for years.
Okay.
You can pay your ground rent on an illegal structure, but it doesn't make it legal.
Okay, Mr.
It just gives you an equitable leg.
Mr. Wahab, but the government has been collecting ground rent on an illegal structure. Is that not illegal by the government to do? The government has been collecting ground rent. Let me finish. The government has been collecting ground rent on an illegal structure. Is the government not complicit in all of this? The government that gave authorization for them to go ahead to build the land and has now overnight now say they want to demolish, And also, for those that have been affected, Mr. Tokunbo, do you feel sorry for the pain of these people? I'd like to ask you that question. And Mr. Rhodes-Vivour, you said there are some government offices that goes through the contravenes the right of way. Mr. Tokunbo, if after Mr. Rhodes-Vivour pointed out those government offices, how quick are you going to demolish those government offices? Please point them out. The one you said that contravenes the right of way.
So it's the Aboyediko, there's the AIM and Itiri complex, LIRS and a number of other government agencies are there. I'm not pointing this out to say I want them to destroy anything.
No, we're just
pointing out the fact that there are creative
board.
ways of ensuring that water is moving. And like you said, it was a campaign point during an election at a point, but it still exists today, right?
And the
government offices are there, right?
On the right of way.
On the right of way.
Okay.
If we are talking about these...
Mr. Tokunbo, please, I want you to react to that. And also the first question I did ask.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rufai. Now, let me start with your first question. Now, what most of these developers do, with due respect to most of them, they get approval and they fly the coordinates and build beyond the approved limits. That was exactly what happened in the case of Mende Villa. They got approval maybe to do like 28 units. He ended up extending to like 38 units. And the facts are there. Now, in all the letters and the correspondences from the government, there was a rider on the condition that you must keep to these terms, which meant they were temporary, they were provisional. Now, when we found out he had exceeded, we served the notices. And what we did last Saturday, though painfully, was for overriding public interest, remove the portion that was sitting on Oduyalaru, and we left the remainder of the estate. Now, on the issue of authority to build, I think my first answer answers that. When you have approval to build 5 and you build 10, does it make it right? You end up paying your ground rent, but it doesn't confer a legal title on you or a legal right on you. So we need to be careful. Illegality can never change to be legality because it's a foundation. You can't put something on nothing, it will not stand. Now, Mr. Rhodes-Vivour had mentioned Itiri Channel. That's Aboyade Coal. I said it earlier. I said we have served them contravention notices. We are engaging the stakeholders. It's been on for the past 7 months. I came in September, and we will not start enforcement until we're sure we have spoken to everybody. Mr. Rufai, we are not afraid to enforce our laws. The difference between a developed country and a developing country is the fact that the developed countries stick to the laws and they enforce them, and they attach consequences to them. But we as a people want to develop. Development is a function of proper and deliberate planning. It's not by accident. If we want to develop, we must do the right things. Or else we become an Obasian state, I say again, where life becomes nasty, brutish, and short.
Do you feel...
Now, on those people that we demolish their properties, I'm coming, let me answer. Don't put it in place. Now, for me, as Tokunbo Wahab, I feel bad. I said it earlier. I feel bad because I'm human. I saw people that were distressed. However, I would rather let those people be distressed and save the lives of 22 million Lagosians from flooding. In Kenya today, they've lost 250 lives. Brazil is still counting. Dubai lost over 30. Global warming and climate change is real. It's so real that we must embrace it and live our lives and plan with resilient infrastructure. Now, we've mobilized a contractor since 2021. He couldn't go to site because of Mende Villa and people like that. Now, we have to create that right of way for him to come back and implement and line it properly. Julius Berger is running the infrastructure for Mokpebi. It's a massive infrastructure that will change the landscape of the state, the mainland. It's a legacy. Now, people can say, okay, Mr. Governor is a demolition. We do respect, without being immodest. He has set his place in the history of Lagos. His legacies are there. I won't speak to the hard infrastructure of red line and blue line completion. No. This same governor, after waiting for 40 years, gifted Lagos 2 specialized universities, science and tech and education. That is a legacy.
Okay, Mr. Tokunbo, it's not about the campaign now. Can I also ask this? Can I also ask this? Will compensation be paid at some point? Is that in the works? So you are saying this is a full-on illegality, nothing will be paid, nothing will be given to those people, so they can go and perish. Is that what you're saying? Or will compensation be paid?
Nobody will say that.
Okay.
We'll find compensations are based on applications, and they are profiled and treated on a case-by-case basis.
So they can apply for compensation,
and I believe
so Mende
those involved,
can Mende,
let them apply.
So Mende Villa Bill can apply for compensation. So they can apply.
No, don't limit to Mende Villa.
And
we are removing properties at Arewo Jobe, at Sholui. Okay. Let them apply. And then we take it to ESCO and take it to the governor for approval. You will find this is a government that has empathy for people. What the governor is doing, giving back to the people with 500,000 people being fed because of the cost of living, is real. Paying for antenatal and postnatal for pregnant women is real. Paying for their health, for paying the bills of the aged people in society is real.
Anyway, on the light side,
it's not campaign, it's not election.
On the light side, Tokunbo,
we should leave the election mode.
I have not seen the food, Tokunbo. I have not seen the food. I've just been hearing audio that 500,000 food is going around. I have not seen the food. That's on the lighter side anyway. That's on the lighter side. But the most important thing is that these people can apply for compensation. Okay. That's the most important thing. So we're taking that away. So can the real estate company also lead the charge in applying for this compensation? The developer company?
Now, it's 2 ways.
Okay.
They can route it through their developer if they choose to, if they trust the developer. Or they can come as a group.
Okay.
We're here, we're displaced, and then the government will appraise it, and that's why I said they will profile it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you.
Well, let me come in here. And I would like to start with the commissioner. there's been one major refrain to all of this, that certain persons of an ethnic category have been the ones that have been most affected in the enforcement of the rules about physical planning. And there have been articles in the newspapers, on this particular subject. Having you with us this morning is an opportunity for you to address this.
Doctor, I didn't get that question, please, Dr. Abati. I didn't get your question.
Look, there are persons who are saying that some ethnic groups are being unfairly targeted in the process of the demolitions. And that story has been out there. So we have an opportunity having you in charge of physical planning with us to respond to that. And I would also like Rhodes-Vivour to also respond to that. It's not as if Yoruba houses have not also been demolished, but some people are saying some other ethnic groups are being targeted and that this is an attempt at ethnic, let's say ethnic cleansing, of reducing the invasion of Lagos by people from other parts of Nigeria who are supposed to be tenants who have turned themselves into landlords.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. I don't know ethnicity, I don't know tribe, I don't know religion, I don't know creed. I believe in law, I believe in order, I believe in doing the right thing. Why we chose to enforce System 44 from Ogombo through to Ikota is serving political elected official of my party in Lagos State lost 6 houses because he built those houses on the right of way of System 44. It's in government. And that is the way it works. Now, the one from Mendevilla is owned by the Kinduro Jaye, that's the developer. I know the Kinduro Jaye, he works for Lagos State. But for overriding public interest, we are meant to do the right thing for the greater number of our citizens. I repeat, just imagine the flood ravaging Kenya, Brazil, the one that happened in Dubai. Imagine it in Lagos. What do we say to ourselves? We start blaming government for dropping the ball. So it's not about ethnicity. Whoever says that is just dog whistling. Dog whistling will not solve the problem. We have seen a problem. We are addressing it head on in environments, in physical planning, in transport. That is what we are doing. We have chosen to do the right thing. It's painful at times because people are used to doing things their way, but it doesn't make it right to do it in the wrong way. Let us take ownership and do the right thing. Let us see it as our own thing. Dr. Abati, we clean up ungoverned spaces. We've taken ownership of ungoverned spaces since October last year. We've done from Orile down to Koko. We've done Dolphin, we've done Obalende, we've done Ijora. But those that know how notorious Ijora had been. It's becoming a football pitch. We've done Obalende. It's becoming a team park. We've done Adeniji. We've done Ebute Elefun. We're taking back the states. We're taking back the states. We're taking back ungoverned spaces, putting them to proper use. Some days back, we went to Ikoyi Towers. Over 400 persons occupying the heart of it. Squatters that nobody can account for them, Dr. Abati. What do you call that? In the heart of Lagos. It's a major security risk. It's an environmental issue. And we should stop playing politics with it. The lives of people are involved. For a politician like Mr. Rhodes-Vivour, he can wait for the next election. But when it comes to governance, let us take very tough decisions and work together for the common good of our people. Flood doesn't know your tribe, doesn't know your religion, doesn't know your state of origin. Flood is a cause of nature. Global warming is real. Let us accept. Climate change is real. Let us embrace it and work to reduce the impact. And especially when they have said, excuse me, sir, when they have said to us that Lagos will go under in 50 years, should we fold our hands and let that prediction come to pass?
Okay.
We spoke about Lagos Island being flooded. It's because the sea level had gone up. That's why. And we've created a pumping outlets for them at Ilubiri. So these are issues we are handling. He mentioned about the shit being poured into the lagoon. That is a total misconception based on ignorance, with due respect to him. There is a system at all our stations. And we had also tried to ramp up by entering the MOU with Juspong to develop those infrastructures beyond what we have. Lagos is growing daily. That's our reality. But we can't lose the state to non-state actors.
Okay. Let's hear from...
Some things are painful, but we should not be too emotional about them.
Okay.
Let me respond to most of what he said. First and foremost, if waste, shit, dump is taken out from your house, is being dumped in lagoons in Lagos State, is being dumped in canals. I don't care how he's trying to butter it or flourish it, it's going into the water of Lagos State. Secondly, he's talking about the flooding of Lagos Island, but then Ilubirin is a major block to the flow of water out of Lagos Island. And it's the same government that's responsible for this. So you have almost a situation where it seems like there's no conversation about waterway and water flows when their friends or the government themselves are doing developments. You have Eco-Atlantic expanding at an astronomical rate, and you have waters that are supposed to be leaving Lagos State that are going to be encumbered by all these developments, right? So you have that. Secondly, we have a situation where a party has governed this state for over 20-something years. They keep talking about this big master plan. All these right-of-way and waterways that he's talked about have been in existence for a very long time. So how is it that the government that's also supposed to supervise, because they don't just give planning authority approval, they still visit your site as you're constructing, they still visit and supervise, and there's a charge for all of that. How is it that they were supervising and all of these encumbrances, all these things still happened? So, and what is the government's responsibility? Who are they going to hold accountable? From the local government to the planning authority, who are they going to hold accountable for these buildings getting to these stages, right? And if they're not going to hold anybody in government accountable, how are they going to work around these buildings that have already been built to ensure that fewer people are made homeless, or compensations are made, or there is a show of humanity and empathy in destroying these people's homes? And that's what the conversation is about. I feel that I don't want to talk about a scientist or a researcher can plot all the places where demolitions have happened and maybe compare it to the presidential election, and maybe they might say a trend. That's for a researcher to do. I'm not going to talk about that. My point is the human face that government must have in engaging in citizens.
I want to ask very quickly, because I know we're almost out of time. The big question around Mende, Maryland is not the only place that has issues with flooding. There are many parts. Dolphin Estate on the island. Banana Island, just got a message of someone who lives there who says, there's flooding in that estate. What would Lagos State do? Victoria Island and other parts of Lagos, because there's such an attention placed on Mende, Maryland. And we all know that that's not the only place affected. What will this government do? Will they be bold enough? I think, Rufai, you asked that question earlier. Will they be bold enough as well to address encroachments and contravening of laws in these areas, in these affluent areas, not just places like Maryland and Mende? I would ask you first, Honorable Commissioner, and then Mr. Rhodes-Vivour can speak as well. What's the solution, Mr. Honorable Commissioner? All right, I think Commissioner is speaking. Yeah.
You're going to experience flash flooding. Ayo, please, you're going to experience flash floodings in some areas. That's when the tide is high, and then within 2 hours, the ponding will be released, and then the water will dry up. We have enforced in Ikoyi. I can speak to that. We have enforced in Banana Island. We have enforced at Onikoyi. We have enforced at Parkview. We have enforced at Lekki. We have served them contravention notices in some areas of VI. I mentioned it to you, Aboyadeko. Look, when it comes to doing the right thing, we don't know your party. We don't know your affiliation. We do the right thing because that's what the law provides that we should do. People are focusing on Mende. We've demolished and we've removed properties or houses around our Boru command, and we're giving them a resilient infrastructure to avoid flooding in future. Nobody's talking about that. At Ikota, they are doing infrastructure, concrete lining of the trapezoidal that will take the water into the Ikota River on System 44. He's not talking about that. We have opened up System 157 at Orchid. He's not talking about that. 156, we've been on the conversation for the past 6 months, Dr. Abati, with the people that obliterated 156. They covered it up. And we are saying to them, you can't cover a stream. It's a natural part of water. and you have a C of O, your C of O ought to have reflected that there's a right of way for this stream here. And the same thing we have done in Mende and other parts of Lagos.
Did the CFO reflect that? And why didn't the CFO reflect that there's a stream there?
Yeah. Now that's what I'm telling you. Your survey is a concise and precise document of your land. This particular Mende Villa, if you go and read the thread of documents, he amended his survey because the first one is subject to the Minister of Environment, did not reflect Odoyalaro. And he came back with a new survey December 28, 2027. No, 2007.
Okay.
Reflecting the Odoyalaro River that predates all of them.
Okay.
You see, let us put in perspective. If you have seen flooding and nature take its course, the least you can do is to prepare and build infrastructure that can mitigate the impact of nature.
Honorable Commissioner, I plead with you, we need to wrap up this program. We've run out of time. But quickly, if you like to respond in less than a minute.
Yes, I don't want to take that on time. I feel that the government, we need to remind this government that they are public servants. They are here to serve the people. And in serving the people, there must be a human face to governance. And that must be a factor in everything that they do. We must see a situation where they are engaging and providing solutions to this situation where you are going to destroy people's houses or homes. We must also see a situation where the government is holding itself accountable for all this lack of regulation and lack of oversight in these buildings getting to this level. Because from local government to the Alausa government, they are supposed to supervise development across Lagos State. It's not just giving papers. I work in construction. I know how many times people from government come and supervise what we are doing. So how did they miss all of these things? Despite the fact that this has been a continuous government that has a so-called plan, master plan that we have not seen, which means that all of these things should be taken into account when shovels are granted, when building permits are granted, and we need to see consistency, right? And we also need to see the government hold itself accountable as well, and also stop dumping shit in our lagoons.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes-Vivour. Thank you very much, Mr. Wahab, Commissioner for Physical Planning in Lagos State, for joining us.